Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the second edition of the Sports Route. This is your host, Mike Grizzard, and we are coming to you from Tiebreaker's Sports Bar and Grill here on Smithwick Drive. We'd like to thank our sponsors again tonight, as Tiebreaker Sports Bar and Grill is our title sponsor. Come out on Monday night and enjoy 75-cent boneless wings and play Hollywood Trivia on Tuesday nights. Check the Facebook page for bands on Fridays. Pitt County Farm Bureau, the Bill King Agency, located at 3200 Charles Boulevard. Call 756-3165 or visit www.ncfbins.com/Pitt-King. Holt Humphreys DDS. Holt's office is at 1100 Oakmont Drive. Call 355-2424 for an appointment. Aldridge and Southern Realtors. Call 756-3550 to inquire about residential or commercial property. Visit aldridgeandsutherland.com and Sound Partners. Call Bert Powell at 756-7721 to talk about wealth. Last week we announced our all-county team for winter sports. Calendar has definitely turned to spring, so that means a lot of baseball and softball.
Good evening, sports fans.
That means a lot of baseball and softball. That fields all around Pitt County, but there's a lot going on also with travel volleyball that at the peak of their season, also swimming, gymnastics, and soccer also are entering their busy seasons, and we will have them as guests on our future programs. Tonight we welcome in Kelly Kraniak and Danielle Buchanan from the East Carolina Junior Volleyball Club. And Bo Batts from Pitt County Girls Softball League will be in later. We'll also recap the week in local sports and look ahead to the Greenville Little League opening weekend. We will take a short break now, and when we come back, we will have Kelly Kraniak and Danielle Buchanan as our guests.
Hey craft beer fans, did you know that Tiebreakers now stocks over 50 craft beers? We have slowly added to our craft beer menu and are continuing to add new crafts weekly with your help. Stop by after work and try one of your favorite craft beers and enjoy one of our handcrafted appetizers, burgers, or salads. If you're serious about your craft beer, then find us on the Untapped app. Tiebreakers is your local spot for food, sports, and entertainment.
Club, and ladies, I understand you might be a little tired from traveling from Atlanta last night. You got in, 2 o'clock?
Yeah, midnight, 1 a.m., yep.
Well, sounds like it was well worth the trip. Just kind of wrap up the weekend. I know your team, DC 14 Black team, is headed to Detroit, so just kind of tell me about their performance and then wrap up for the rest of the teams.
Sure. We took 11 teams of our 20 to Atlanta, Georgia this past weekend to play in a qualifier that has competition throughout the United States, so all the way from California to the east. So lots of competition, and we had, I think we had 4 teams that finished up in the gold division, and the highlight of our weekend was our 14 Black team. They earned a bid to Detroit, Michigan, so they only take the top 3 in all the different levels, and it's only happened 2 other times in our club history, so it's a huge deal.
Quite
Very
an accomplishment.
awesome.
And you have 3 teams to finish ninth, which they don't advance, but that's still quite an accomplishment for them.
Yep, that was up in the gold division. That means they're competing against their age groups, the best of the best around the area and around the United States, and competing. And we even had Danielle's team, 16 Black. They won the silver division. That means they only lost 1 match. Just put them in a certain bracket and just kept on keeping on. So a lot of good stuff happening.
Now, Danielle, I know y'all have played in the Carolina region. You played up in D.C. How do you compare the competition in Atlanta to what you have seen throughout the season?
Being in Atlanta is a lot of fun because you do get to see teams from California all the way down to southern Florida, and that's pretty cool. Typically when we go to DC, we're not playing West Coast teams, but this weekend we did get to play a few teams from California, which was fun. And the girls like to interact with all these different players from all over the place and find out where they're from. The competition does get a lot more challenging when you're playing teams from all over the country. What's interesting, though, is that when we do go to these tournaments, we always end up seeing some North Carolina teams because we are a very competitive state with volleyball.
Yeah, and I looked through the results. I saw you played North Carolina Academy and North Carolina Elite, which you match up with those in the Carolina region. So.
Seen them already. And what's so funny about volleyball, girls volleyball competition, even though they're competing against each other, they start this bond of, they actually become friends even though they're competing against each other. It's nice to see, though.
Yeah. I know you're from the Midwest. You said you play teams from California. Do you see different styles of volleyball in the way they play? Because obviously in California they play year-round.
Yep. Yeah, I would say so. And it may just be kind of the advancement over in the West and the Midwest is very, very fast pace, very defense-oriented, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I think Danielle and I are bringing. She lived in Colorado for a while, just kind of bringing to North Carolina and smaller Greenville is that mentality of speed, defense. Defense is an attitude, that kind of stuff to speed up and compete with those kinds of teams.
Yeah, I watched a lot of your teams early in the year, and just the last time I saw them, I was just amazed at how much they improved. And I guess when you're bringing girls together to go to different schools, it just takes a little while to mesh and build that chemistry, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. We're trying to pull the best from different schools, and all those different coaches have certain mentalities or experiences that they have, but kind of putting them in what we strive to push them to be with our coaching styles and what ECJVC finds important. Just kind of putting it all together makes it work out really well. So I do appreciate that you think that they're all improving. I think volleyball is such a team sport that you see that chemistry and the meshing, and that's kind of what we want to build as we go throughout the season too. So,
Daniel, when you go to a tournament like this, I mean, do you set goals, say we want to go to nationals, or do you have realistic goals going in? Or
that's always the goal.
Yeah.
And the girls will talk about it. They're all very capable of earning that bid to nationals. It's just how much work they're going to put into practice and how hard are they going to work in the game. And typically, our teams all put in the work at practice, and that they're really competing with all these top teams that we're seeing at these bigger tournaments. But yeah, nationals is always the goal, and it's an attainable goal for all of our teams. So it's really exciting being in such a small area and getting to send our 14s team all the way, to Detroit to compete against the best of the best, and all the other teams that have earned bids. So it's exciting to see.
And I guess this has got to be motivation or a carrot for other teams come along, because I mean it's realistic. It's we saw that with the Little League team when they went to the World Series. It's like, okay, it's a reality now. We can do it. So is that something you can use as motivation? So you girls can actually do this.
Yeah, I hope so. Like Danielle said, at first we started going when we were smaller. We started going to the tournaments just to get the experience, that kind of stuff. But now it is reality, and we hope to have those girls, 13s through 18s, whoever really wants to fight for that kind of attainable goal, they can definitely do it.
Yeah. And we talked several weeks ago about kind of your background. You came from Illinois and played at DCU, and you kind of wanted to establish that passion and love for volleyball in this area. Just kind of go into that about just kind of putting down roots here and trying to establish that type of volleyball in Eastern North Carolina.
Sure. I loved it at Illinois, but coming to ECU and making volleyball my life since throughout all my years, I think I did see the need for it in Greenville and the smaller areas to develop and bring what I had and the experiences I had to Greenville, and it's grown so much. I think thanks to our club and the coaches that we have, and our club used to be very parent-run, but now it's a lot more ECU players, club players, people from around, outside of North Carolina, just developing the passion, like I said, and it's more than just bumps at Spike. There's way more than that. There's team chemistry, there's building a foundation, there's development, there's aspirations of playing in college, and that's kind of what I want to bring, and why we're glad to have Danielle on on the board and the staff to be able to help with those experiences as well.
Yeah, Danielle, you've been in the program 9 years. Have you seen the program develop? How much does having 2 gyms, a place to call your own, how much does that mean to the girls, and as far as development, bringing in tournaments, and just the whole package that you can offer?
Oh, it's awesome. I know when I first started coaching, I was 18, first year at ECU, and we had maybe like 8 teams, maybe fewer. And now having 20 teams plus, 3 or 4 developmental teams and all sorts of other things going on all the time, it's really exciting to see and to have a gym that's our colors and all decked out in ECJBC. I think that the program has just exploded, and we're a known club in North Carolina now. People say, oh, ECJBC, here they come, like another team.
And seeing our gym looking so cool when we have all these
cool.
new regional tournaments and stuff coming in, we get on the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool just for Pitt County and Greenville. I know business leaders, restaurants and hotels and gas stations, all that, they're glad to have that too, because it gives a little economic boost. Instead of y'all going out of town, you're bringing people in, so that's always a help. You alluded to this a little bit, but do you have an overall vision to your program? Because like you say, some girls want to go play college, maybe some girls just want to learn how to play and have fun, but when you look at the group as a whole, is there an overall vision of what we want to offer?
I think, like I said before, I really think it's developing strong, confident girls. I think that's a big thing that volleyball has taught me, and I'm sure taught Danielle, just applying what you learn in a team atmosphere, learning how to be leaders, learning how to be good teammates. You're on the bench, you're cheering on your teammates, you're working hard. All that stuff applies to your future and being strong women, and I think that's what our biggest goal is, while also, loving volleyball and being competitive and exercise, all that other good stuff too. But we do appreciate bringing in the littles for our developmental leagues, and we have one 18s team this year. There's 2 18s teams, and 5 or 6 of them are going to play at the D1, D2, or D3 level. So just having them come through our program and have those aspirations, and some don't play in college, but they have those experiences from their lives that they can bring with them for work in their futures.
Yeah. You're the director of the program, but do you still get the most joy when you're out there coaching and competing?
Oh yeah. I think it's what I was born to do. It's all I know, and it's all I love to do. So I love it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about our player of the week, Sydney, a little bit. Just tell me about her performance this weekend, and just a little bit about her background. I understand she's going to Liberty to play volleyball, but just tell me a little bit about her background and how she performed this week.
Sydney's been with us since her 13th year, and she's played multiple positions, and she's developed as a libero, a back row specialist, since I think 15's year. She's been recruited to play at Liberty University, which is a awesome opportunity for her. And this weekend, just her hustle and reading, when you're in the back row, being able to pass and, like I said, have that attitude. Sydney has that, so she's always very level-headed and able to get balls up. When you think the ball's down, she's there to get it up, and just a strong presence on the court. And she's always like that, so it's pretty easy to choose her, honestly. She's great.
Now just tell me what's left for this season. I know you've got several more tournaments coming up. The Carolina region is over, right? But
we'll have actually one more weekend for our 12s, 13s, 16s, and 18s is this weekend coming up. So then the Carolina region will be over, and then our regional level teams will play in a couple more tournaments, one in Raleigh, and then we'll take them to Williamsburg, Virginia for a 2-day event, which is just more fun, and it's always a nice experience near Williamsburg. So.
The trip to Detroit is, that's in June, so you've got a lot of time to prepare. How do you go about getting that team ready? Will you play other teams, or obviously a lot of practice, but will you play some scrimmages, or how will you get those girls prepared?
Our national level teams will have a couple more tournaments over in Raleigh. There's a club that's very strong there that we'll compete against. So a couple tournaments in May, and there's the AAUs in Florida. in June, so that'll be a great preparation, I think. But getting in the gym 2-3 days a week and working on the things that we need to work on, I think that's what the girls are really good at. They're young, and they're now seeing this bigger picture of volleyball and like, man, we can do it. So I think it's going to be a big deal for them to know they can be successful when we go.
Danielle, what's your message to some young girls out there who may have not tried volleyball but may want to give it a shot?
I would say give it a chance. We have some really great opportunities coming up for girls that maybe have not played volleyball before. Starting, April 22nd is our first swing at a rec league called our Spring Swing Rec League. So for girls ages 12 and under, and then through the high school, we'll have 3 different divisions. And this will be a great time for girls to come out and learn some fundamental skills and have fun playing volleyball. And they can learn from our great coaches there, and we'll just give them an experience that will hopefully inspire them to continue playing with the club and just grow, very similar to how Sydney has grown as a player. And it'd be great to get some more girls in the gym.
Yeah. And you draw from quite a big area. I noticed you have some from Carteret County, Wilson to come in.
Yeah, I think it's still growing too. We pulling from Raleigh. Before it was just, I think we're growing on the map and still looking for some guys to play. It's very popular where I came from, so I told you that earlier too. We're opening that up, the spring swing, to boys too, middle school, high school boys. I'm one to talk. It's a great sport. They'd love it.
Yeah, and I know some of the sites I have gone on that they have some boys teams, and my son, he wants to play volleyball. He's 18, but he's over his girlfriend's playing volleyball today.
So there we go. Get him started.
Yeah, I know. They really enjoy it. So
Never
it's just,
too late to start.
Exactly.
Trying to get some dads involved too.
Right.
We have a dad and daughter tournament coming up.
That's right.
Or just dads, maybe just dad tournament. It'd be kind of fun, right?
That'd be good.
Dads and coaches.
Yeah, you're gonna have some medical personnel on hands. You might have some pulled hamstrings and back injuries.
That's right.
All right, ladies. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming down. It's been a joy watching your girls play this year and just watching them improve. And it's just so much fun out there. The energy they just have so much fun. But obviously, y'all are doing things right out there.
Thanks. And thanks for covering. This is great.
Pretty neat.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with a wrap-up of the week.
Hey Greenville, are you tired of paying way too much for average food? Then plug Tiebreakers into your GPS and try some of our handcrafted plates. Tiebreakers does all the extra things that the chain restaurants don't do. We hand cut and bread our boneless wings, we hand patty our Angus burgers, we even hand cut and bread our own cheese sticks. Tiebreakers always goes that extra mile for you, our customer. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and caterings. Tiebreakers is your local spot for food, sports, and entertainment. Hey craft beer fans, did you know that Tiebreakers now stocks over 50 craft beers? We have slowly added to our craft beer menu and are continuing to add new crafts weekly with your help. Stop by after work and try one of your favorite craft beers and enjoy one of our handcrafted appetizers, burgers, or salads. If you're serious about your craft beer, then find us on the Untapped app. Tiebreakers is your local spot for food, sports, and entertainment.
Welcome back to the Sports Wrap. Kraniak and Danielle Buchanan for coming down for the talk about the EC JVC Volleyball Club and their weekend in Atlanta. Tremendous weekend. They will be sending a team to the Nationals in Detroit in June. We want to recap the week in sports. We're going to look at college and high school baseball and a little bit of Little League, but PCC, Pitt Community College, wrapped up a big weekend at Wake Tech. The Bulldogs have won 4 straight now and 11 out of their last 12. But they went to last week. They beat Paul Camp Community College during the week 15-10. Then they swept Wake 12-6, 4-0, and 12-10. Now Patrick Wheeler, Joe Quinones Mason, and Austin LaFollette had big offensive weekends. Austin hit 2 home runs. Probably the story of the weekend was Jake Isbell. Jake played at Holly Springs High School, and Saturday's second game of a doubleheader was played at Holly Springs. And Jake gave up 1 infield hit. Other than that, he was perfect. Retired the first 8 batters gave up an infield hit, then retired the next 13. Just a tremendous effort by the sophomore right-hander. He struck out 8, walked none. PCC will be hosting Lewisburg this week at Menzies Overton Complex at 6 o'clock. And then they've got a big conference series against Patrick Henry Community College. Right now, PCC is 10-1 in the conference and in first place. Patrick Henry comes in at 7-1-1. So that'll be a showdown for first place. They'll play 2 games on Saturday at 1 and 3, and then a game at Sunday at noon. ECU, for the second week in a row, got kind of knocked around in the first game. They 2 weeks ago they lost to Central Florida in the first game, came back and won the next 2. This week they welcomed in Wichita State. Just a fine program. Wichita State wins the first game 14-3, and then the Pirates bounce back and win 7-3, and then behind Tyler Smith win 5-0. So the Pirates now 20-6, 4-2 in the American. Got a big week for the Pirates this week. They host UNC Wilmington on Tuesday, Wofford on Wednesday, and then they hop on a plane and head out to Seattle to play University of Washington. They'll play 1 game Friday and 2 games on Saturday, and the Huskies are 13-11. Looking at high school, Conley is the hottest team in the area right now. Conley is 11-2. They actually won a game earlier this afternoon, 8-1 over Green Central in the Pitt County Classic. But Conley won its first game of the year, lost its first game 12-2 to West Craven, then won 9 in a row. They lost to Southern Wayne 5-4. They had a big win over Rose last week when Robbie O'Neill just put on an incredible effort, struck out 15. Robbie was pumping it in, high 90s, high 80s, low 90 fastball, and just really overwhelmed Rose. I think they hit 3 balls in fair territory against Robbie, and he struck out 15, walked 2, but just a stellar effort. Vikings beat Bloom Carroll 10-4. Bloom Carroll's out of Ohio down here to play in the Easter tournament. Conley's putting up some pretty impressive numbers on offense. They've got 4 or 5 left-handers in that lineup. Zach Byram right now is batting .405. Cam Jackson 387. Brock Cross 364. Shea Ward 361. Robbie O'Neill's batting 343 on the mound. Robbie's 4-0 he's got 40 strikeouts in 18 innings, only giving up 5 hits this season. For Rose, story for Rose and South Central this year is a key injury. Rose lost Hunter Christopher in a game over at Hunt to a concussion, and Hunter's not back yet. And South Central lost Kevin Mills also. He's under that concussion protocol, but Kevin was trying to beat out a ground ball to first base and got slapped on the helmet, and he's missed the last 4 games. So both of those teams are dealing with the injuries and really kind of been struggling without those key players. But you lose a guy like Hunter. Hunter's batting .458 in the leadoff spot, and he's also 3-0 on the mound, and you take somebody like that out of the lineup, it's really affected the Rampants. But Rose was 8-0. They've since lost 4 of their last 5 games. They lost this afternoon to Whiteville 12-2 over at Guy Smith Stadium. But they lost 3 in a row. Lost to Washington 10-6, Conley 4-1, and Eastern Wayne 6-4 before they beat Wake County Homeschool 7-2. And Rose will play tomorrow afternoon against Edenton Holmes at 2:30. Robbie Wacker's been one of the main leaders on offense. He's batting .382 with 13 RBIs, and Anthony Sade .385 with 14 RBIs, 2 homers. Grant Charles Jarman's at .314 with 11 RBIs. Elsewhere around the county, South Central is 5-5. They heading into tonight's game. South Central plays tonight at 7:30 against Powhatan, Virginia, and will also play Tuesday at 6 against West Craven. The Falcons are 5-5 and 1-3, and kind of an oddity with the Falcons. They've had 4 of their last 5 games. They've had a 4-2 lead and lost 3 of those games. They lost to New Bern. They went into the 7th inning against New Bern, tied 4-4. Ended up losing that game 7-4. had a 4-2 lead against Aycott, which actually started the season ranked number 1 in Class 3A, and lost that game 5-4. They beat Bloom Carroll 4-3 on Saturday. Drew Nichols, a left-handed hitter, just a tremendous hitter, is batting .500 this year. Falcons only have three batters above .300. Scott Mayo's batting .370, and Colby Wainwright's at .345. Scott Mayo, a left-handed senior who's going to Wake Tech next year, he's been tremendous on the mound. He's got a 3-1 record, 52 strikeouts in 29.2 innings. He's had games of 15 and 14 strikeouts, only 6 walks in 29 innings, 23 hits. Aiden Grifton at this point is 8-5, 1-4 in the ECC. The Chargers play tonight against Beargrass Charter at 7 o'clock, and we'll play Roanoke Rapids tomorrow at 7. Our Chargers are coming off a 17-7 win over Pamlico County. North Pitt right now is 6-6, 0-1 in the EPC, and they play Riverside this afternoon at 5 o'clock. So they're playing right now, and coming off a 12-0 loss to Green Central. Farmville Central's off to a kind of a tough start at 2-7, 0-2 in the EPC, and they played Southern Nash this afternoon in the Golden Leaf Invitational over in Farmville, and they will play Wayne Country Day tomorrow in that tournament. And Oakwood's off to a 2-4 start, 2-2 in the Coastal Independent Conference. They play Thursday against Eastern Christian Home School. Turn to softball right now, and a lot of teams have been involved in Easter tournaments on Saturday today. But South Central's off to a great start, 8-1, 4-0 in the conference, and Conley 7-4, 4-1 in the conference. Rose 3-6 and picked up its first conference win last week against Eastern Wayne. So the Rampants are 1-4. South Central today was playing Amelia Courthouse, Virginia, at 11, and was scheduled to play Havelock at 3. Falcons are led by senior Cameron Davis, who's just having a tremendous year. She's batting .613, 5 home runs, 24 RBIs. Has had 1 game-winning home run. Maya Evans is .393, 2 homers. Madison Deans is batting .448, and Holly Morrison's at .367 with 12 RBIs. Conley really rode last week. Conley beat Rose 15-0. Southern Wayne 10-0, beat Topsail 4-3. West Carteret 6-0, and Conley was scheduled to play at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Rose will play Southwest Edgecombe on Wednesday. Now turning to Little League, and it's about that time to kick off the season. And opening ceremonies will be Friday at 7:30 at Elm Street Park, and then we'll have a full slate of games on Saturday. But before that, some of the Greenville teams got a chance to play in the first North District 4 tournament against 4 teams from Rocky Mount. 4 teams from Rocky Mount came over and played at Elm Street Park. And then this past weekend was the 6th annual Jimmy Grimsley Highway 264 Challenge, in which 8 teams from Greenville and 8 teams from Wilson played. So there's 4 games played at Stallings Stadium at Elm Street Park, and then 4 games are played over at the very nice park over in Wilson, Southern Bank Stadium over there. And teams actually split this year. Greenville has dominated that series for the first 5 years, and they split this year. And teams not competing in that played in the Commissioner's Challenge. So those are exhibition games that give the teams a chance to get some live action against another opponent before they play for real. But in the Highway 264 Challenge, Greenville got wins from Host Line 7-3 over Greenlight. Rematch, which is formerly the North Care team, beat EB Sports 12-1. EC Auto and Truck beat Highway 55 13-0, and Brown and Wood beat Ferris and Ferris 12-4. Wilson got wins from Creech's Plumbing 4-0 over Ross Orthodontics. Breakfast Optimist beat Physicians East 5-2. North Carolina Baseball Museum shut out Carolina Windows and Doors 2-0, and BB&T got by Kiwanis 6-4. In the Commissioner's Challenge, Overton's beat Eastern Plumbing 3-2. Optimus beat BB&T 10-9, and Jarman Auto Sales got by Sylvan 12-8. So opening ceremonies will be 6 o'clock on Friday, and there will be ceremonies honoring the 8 to 10-year-old Tournament of State champions. They also won district and state. The 9 to 11 Tournament of State champions. They also won district and state. And the 10 to 12-year-old Little League World Series participant, North State All-Stars, will be honored during that ceremony also. And then first pitch is 7:30 between Physicians East and Eastern Plumbing. Then a full slate of games. On Saturday, we'll pit Brandon Wood against Ross at 11 a.m. Rematch against Overton at 11. At 1 o'clock, BB&T plays host line. Sylvan will face Carolina Windows and Doors. Jarman faces Kiwanis. At 4 o'clock, EC Auto and Truck faces Coke. And at 6 to cap off the day, Pepsi plays Optimist. Also, the Pitt County Girls Softball League will begin on April 9th. And after this break, we'll welcome Bo Betts from the Pitt County Girls Softball League to talk about the upcoming season.
Hey, craft beer fans, did you know that Tiebreakers now stocks over 50 craft beers? We have slowly added to our craft beer menu and are continuing to add new crafts weekly with your help. Stop by after work and try one of your favorite craft beers and enjoy one of our handcrafted appetizers, burgers, or salads. If you're serious about your craft beer, then find us on the Untapped app. Tiebreakers is your local spot for food, sports, and entertainment.
Their turn, but
we appreciate that.
Appreciate you coming in tonight. But we want to talk about the league, some of the history and your season coming up. But I understand you're opening up this a week from tonight. So
that's correct. We should have a huge crowd out there next Monday night, starting at 6 o'clock, and immediately after the opening ceremony, we'll be doing games, a round of games. Mm-hmm. Only one that night because we don't want to get the 6-year-old mothers mad at us. So yeah, but that's I've only missed 2 of these in the last 27 years. So it's always an exciting time to get everybody out there and get things started.
And we go back to when that was just a field out there, because I know back in the day the girls just didn't have a place to call their own. I mean they couldn't get fields to practice, and that there just wasn't a league for them. So some girls did play Little League, but how much is that facility meant to the girls of this county and to develop them? Now they go into play in the high school at a high level and can some go into college, but how much is that facility meant to the girls in Pitt County?
Mike, I think it's meant a tremendous amount to them. Like you said, when guys like Tommy Cook and his wife Francine and Al Muller and Ken Grace, Matt's dad. Those guys all sat around a table back in '93 and took a program away from, and with good graces that we took it away from community schools, because they were overwhelmed with it and they didn't have facilities either. So for the first 5 years we didn't have a permanent home for the girls. So Tommy and all these people, Mark Garner, they all got together and raised $500,000 and made this thing go. So it was we're now in our 21st year at Sarah Law, which is amazing.
Yeah. And if you walk in the facility out there, used to be a zone, but Premier Academy now, but you walk in and just see the countless trophies out there. It's just, I was out there the other day and just looking at all the trophies. It's just amazing the success these girls have had. And I mean, they played all over the country, bringing home and really representing Pitt County well.
I feel like they have never a hint of scandal and never having a team sent home for bad behavior. We've won 10 World Series in the last 16 years, and we won a national championship. I like to brag on that one because I was the coach for that team. But we won a national championship for 18-year-olds in 2001. So, and what you saw, Mike, in that trophy case, there's about 6 times that many upstairs. We have been extremely blessed in tournament play, and I think I calculated it one day. We figure we've probably had over 10,000 girls come through that program.
Wow.
Some repeats and that whatever, but we figure over the course of this is the 26th season of the league, and so you can see we average about 300-400 kids a year.
And I guess you're like any program now. There's so much available for kids to do with, lacrosse, swimming, gymnastics,
volleyball, like the ladies were talking about.
You want well-rounded kids, but I guess each program has its challenge now. So I mean, how do you survive in a day like this when you see kids are being pulled in all different directions?
We've always asked our young ladies to help fundraise, and it's not a minor thing. It's with the numbers going down over the years, but yet the needs stay the same amount. So what you do is you just ask them to do a little bit more every year, and every year somehow or another we meet our goals, and but sometimes it's kind of daunting when you look and say, oh God, we got to raise $260,000 this year, and but the community, this community has always been very good to the girls and very supportive. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah, I found out with a lot of things. I've been here since '89, but this community does really support its own.
They do. I mean, they need to be proud of that. I just wish, and hopefully this won't get me in trouble, I wish the governmental entities thought as much of all the youth sports. I mean, because the county doesn't fund anything. I mean, you don't see them helping any organization, and that's sad because you do see a tremendous amount of support in bigger cities and that kind of stuff. And we always running up against it when we're going somewhere or doing something. They can't believe that the Sarah Law Complex is privately funded and has never received any governmental funding. What little bit of money we have been given has been given to us by Winterville. Yeah. They've helped us out a couple of times, but that's usually honoring all-star teams or something like that. And it's just something that you have to deal with every year.
Yeah, but I mean, what better investment is there in our youth? And it's a wholesome activity. They're learning leadership, teamwork, and being well-rounded people.
Right.
So I mean, when you talk about your return on investment, what better place could you do it than youth sports?
And look, Mike, we only charge $75, and that usually gives the girls about 3 or 4 months of practices, games, uniforms, insurance, that kind of stuff. And a lot of these other sports are a lot more expensive than that. I won't go into what they are, but they're a fraction of what we charge. And then even when we get a young lady to fundraise, we ask them all to raise $200 a year every year for our big raffle. And even when that happens, they're still way under what we actually it cost us to put a young lady in the league.
Yeah.
So I subsidize that with fence signs and hold sponsorships at golf tournaments, and that there's always something going on out there to help raise money.
Now, I'm pretty sure as when you run a program like this, you kind of want to develop a culture, or an identity. Do you talk about, with your coaches, this is the type of program, this is how we want you to, represent yourself, how the kids, we want them to represent themselves when they're on the field of play. Do you have a kind of culture that you want to establish there?
We really do, and we actually have a code of conduct and a code of ethics, and these are things that Jerry Law, when he was still out there with us, he came up with that. He was very, very keen about ethics and behavior, and so, like I said, we've traveled all over the United States and won every place you could think of, and never had a hint of any kind of issues with the girls or anything like that. So we're proud of that, and we do try to do it and enforce that. And also a lady that was very instrumental in the league years ago named Susan Bain. She was a physician here with Greenville OBGYN, and she came up. She saw a couple of things maybe trending in a way that she didn't like, so she came to a board meeting and said, look, I want to put together a sportsmanship zone and a park. Once we get the signs up this week, we've been waiting for the winds to stop blowing, so because it's blown tops off and everything else. So, but now we're getting the signs up, and each one of them has a little saying that her children, when they did it, that was 10, 12 years ago, they were all young. Now they're all grown. But every sign reminds you to be good. Don't yell at the umpires, don't yell at your kids on the way home, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the greatest compliment you can ever have of one of your team is to say that they were good sports, win or lose.
And we're lucky that most of the time we win, so that helps. It's easier to be a good sport.
Absolutely. Well, tell me about opening night, opening ceremonies. What have you got planned for next Monday?
April the 9th, a week from tonight, 6 o'clock out at the Sarah Law Complex. That's 4799 Reedy Branch Road over in Winneville. And we'll have, we bring all the kids out that night. Right now we're starting 6 through 12. We have 4 age groups started right now. They'll all come out. We'll introduce all the teams, bring them out on the field. Have a guest speaker or two. They'll have to listen to me give my annual begging speech, and but with that in mind, and then we try to keep it to 30 minutes so that people don't get bored and walk out on me. But we'll do that and then play some games, and that'll be the official kickoff for this year.
I know traditionally you've hosted some state and regional tournaments here. I understand you got some coming up later this summer.
We sure do. We've got a huge one, Mike, coming up June the 23rd through the 27th. It's a Saturday through the following Wednesday. We're expecting in excess of 50 teams. It will be a huge economic impact for this county, especially in that period of the summer where the schools are gone and there's not a whole lot going on in Greenville to put people in hotel rooms and in restaurants. So I hope anybody listening to this realizes that this is a potential to get involved, and I'll be glad to give out my telephone number and my email address. But we've already had some good responses, but we still need more help. It's an expensive thing. It'll have expenses close to $45,000.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have to spend every dime that you take in just to pay, because I don't want to do this thing to break even, because our philosophy, Mike's always been whatever we make, we put it right back into the program. So it's not a situation where we don't want to lose money, we don't want to break even. So I would just say, hey, if you care about the girls, and I know you do, please give me a call at 252-714-5485, or my email, which is, I get everybody laughs about this, but it is Bobo, B-O-B-O, Batts, B-A-T-T-S, at gmail.com. And I'll be glad to answer any questions, and I've got some printed materials, but we've already had a number of hotels step up and are going to do comp rooms. And as I like to tell anybody, if I ask you to help and you say no, don't be surprised if you're not on the website. Because, I mean, my feeling about it is we want to help the people that help the girls.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you alluded to that, because I don't think the general public realizes the impact that some of these leagues have when they bring in these tournaments. Restaurants, gas stations, retail, hotels. Instead of our teams going out, when we bring in teams, how big that is to the entire county as far as economic impact.
Plus the fact it saves our kids the expenses of hitting the road. Last year they traveled 3 places, and 2 of them were way away, and there was a lot of money spent on that. But as I try to tell them, All-Stars is a privilege. It's if you get to be an All-Star. When we were coming along, you can ask Tommy Cook and Francine, nobody paid our way. I mean, we had the same expenses, and so I just try to tell people, say, hey, it's your choice. If you want to be an All-Star, then you be an All-Star, but you understand that the league's not in a position to pay your way.
Yeah.
So,
well, Bo, you probably don't get told thank you enough, but I appreciate all you've done for the girls and all the time you put in, because you don't have a child playing right now, but you still put a lot of time in. So just thank you for all you do for the girls of Pitt County.
I appreciate that, Mike. It's been a lot of people over the years that have contributed, and we wouldn't have a league without the people I talked about earlier, Mark and Tommy and Francine. they're the ones that saw the need. And then, and Charles Meeks, I mean, there's a whole bunch of guys that did wonderful things. So,
Well, if you want to see baseball or softball, you've got your choice this weekend from Friday, Saturday. You got Greenville Little League on Friday. You've got Pitt Community College on Saturday and Sunday. You got Greenville Little League on Saturday, and then you've got Pitt County Girls Softball on Monday. So
no excuse to say you don't have anywhere to go.
Nope.
So.
And you can't beat the price of admission for most of these.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, Bo, I certainly appreciate you coming on and talking about the league. And,
Thank you
we
so
wish you
much,
the best.
Mike. I hope this goes very well for y'all.
I wish you the best of luck this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Greenville, are you tired of paying way too much for average food? Then plug Tiebreakers into your GPS and try some of our handcrafted plates. Tiebreakers does all the extra things that the chain restaurants don't do. We hand cut and bread our boneless wings. We hand patty our Angus burgers. We even hand cut and bread our own cheese sticks. Tiebreakers always goes that extra mile for you, our customer. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and caterings. Tiebreakers is your local spot for food, sports, and entertainment.
All right. Well, that wraps up our second edition of the Sports Wrap, and we will see you next Monday here from Tiebreakers.